Hello and welcome to Rhode Island Summer of Soccer, the podcast that's kicking off a celebration of culture, community, and competition as the Ocean State gets ready to welcome the world to soccer in Southern New England. I'm your host, Joe Kayata, a lifelong Rhode Islander and someone who's been lucky enough to cover some of the world's biggest sporting events as a sportscaster. I was a kid the last time the World Cup came to New England back in 1994, and now I'm pumped to see it back. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is taking place just up the road at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, which will be called Boston Stadium during the World Cup. Rhode Island is preparing for a once-in-a-generation opportunity to showcase our hospitality, our businesses, and our spirit to hundreds of thousands of visitors. Leading that charge is Ocean State 2026, a nonprofit organization that was created to facilitate events across Rhode Island, to entertain soccer fans from around the world, and to celebrate the international matches being played in nearby Massachusetts next summer. Today, we're kicking off the very first episode of this podcast with two people who are driving this effort forward. Rhode Island General Treasurer and Ocean State 2026 Chairman James Diossa and Executive Director of Ocean State 2026, Liz Tanner. Welcome to the show.
Good to see you, Joe.
It's so good to have you both of you guys on.
Yeah, just exciting. I love the dynamics of what we're all doing to celebrate the World Cup, and great to have this conversation with you.
Yeah. So let's start with the big picture. The World Cup is coming to North America. Matches will be played right over the Rhode Island border in Foxborough. Treasurer, what kind of opportunity is this for Rhode Island? Tell us about Ocean State 2026 that launched earlier this year.
The governor was very keen about maximizing the opportunity of the World Cup. And so after multiple conversations, he said, you and Liz take this effort to really captivate and showcase Rhode Island during these 39 days of the World Cup. And the fact that we're closer to Gillette than Boston is, I think that's a unique opportunity. And with the recent announcement of Bryant being a base camp, we just want to, provide good logistics and security, really provide the tourists the best experience in Rhode Island, and third, just have a great time celebrating soccer.
Awesome. Liz, we're not only hosting matches, but we're essentially hosting the world, right? Since the majority of visitors will either come through Rhode Island, stay in Rhode Island, pass through it, or even fly into it. Similar to Patriots games and other events that happen in Foxborough. Can you talk about that impact?
So we know that when the Patriots play, about 40% of the attendees stay in Rhode Island, and that's just for the Pats game. So what we really think is going to happen is the international folks will be flying into Logan, staying in Boston using public transportation. We think the Americans are coming up 95 North, taking Amtrak into Rhode Island to be able to be a part of it. Because the other games that are in our area are in Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, Boston, as they're calling it, and Toronto. And so Rhode Island is very uniquely situated. We've got the restaurants, we've got the beaches, we've got the proximity. We've got it all. It's going to be a great year for us.
Yeah, and from past experience, as you mentioned, the Patriots, every time they hosted AFC championships, the city was a buzz, even with teams staying in Providence. Like, Providence comes alive when we host big events just over the line.
Yeah, and the dynamic, too, is it's 39 days of soccer, right? And there's going to be multiple games a day. And just because there's no games at Gillette doesn't mean there's not going to be fans looking for places to watch games. And so that's part of our role to help facilitate that.
Mm-hmm. And as the treasurer, what is the vision for obviously how you guys can capitalize with the economy financially, short term, and then at the end of the day, long term as well, right?
Yeah, I think Liz is doing a great job trying to provide support and guidance to different industries to help prepare them for what's coming. I think it's also important to be able to showcase Rhode Island, tell people about Rhode Island so that they don't overlook us when they come to this area. But more importantly, we know the economic impact that this could have. We just want people to really discover Rhode Island, have a good time around. And who knows, they might come back, make it their home, invest. Who knows? We want to capture that.
Yeah. Liz, Bryant University has the opportunity to serve as base camp for 2026 FIFA World Cup, and we hope that a team will choose Rhode Island, right? And we are the only base camp in New England on the brochure. How did this happen, and how incredible is this for the Ocean State?
Absolutely incredible opportunity for us. The only potential base camp in all of New England. The nearest ones are down in New York, New Jersey. So we're really excited about the opportunity. It's a big part of President Ross Cattell, his Bill Smith, his athletic director, and other staff over there, they put forward an incredible proposal to be able to showcase not just the stadium, but the fields that they have behind the stadium. That's exactly what they're looking for. So we're really excited about that opportunity for them, because we know that that's a fifth country that would be spending a lot of time here. And you're looking at an extra 250 to 500,000 people coming on top of the extra on top of the extra 892,000 people they're expecting. So we could have well over 1 million people here in Rhode Island, nearly doubling our population.
Wow.
And the interesting dynamic about soccer is it's not like the other sports where people will only go to the venues or the locations if they have a ticket. These fans will come just to be close by a base camp, just to see if they could catch a glimpse of a soccer player, participate in some of these viewing fan zones activities. Like, it's a different dynamic here. So we're preparing for that.
Yeah. And then the Graduate Hotel was also listed in the brochure. Tell us about that and how that could play a factor in things as well with the city of Providence.
I mean, being able to be in downtown Providence with the food opportunities that are available, the events that we're planning on having, it's going to be absolutely happening. And we're really excited about the opportunity to have the event surround all of the visitors that are coming, but then also the ability for them to be so close to Bryant as well. It's a perfect combination.
Yeah, that's the key selling point. In going back to what you said earlier is with the Patriots, like, we know what Bryant University can do. They hosted the Patriots for all those years. I was a part of that as a sportscaster on what they did. And I remember Tom Brady was staying in the dorms there. Like, it was a cool experience that they did. And it was a bummer when they left to go to their own space. Yeah. But it just shows you how awesome Bryant University is, how safe it is, and how great of a spot it is to host teams in a quiet community in Smithfield.
And it's so convenient, right on and off the highway, close to Gillette, close to the Providence downtown.
Personally, I think teams that stay there will have a competitive advantage going to Gillette Stadium, because it's a 30-minute ride and you're there, you're at home, rather than a team flying across the country to prepare for a game.
Exactly.
And let's not forget that Rhode Island FC called it home for an entire season.
Yes.
They're ready and prepared for this.
Yep, they are. All right. It's exciting to have the international team based here if it does happen. Treasurer, if you could travel the world inviting those teams to come here, what would you say to entice them?
Well, I'm a little biased, right? We all know what teams we would love to see in this area. There's a lot of fans from Portugal, with Cape Verde now qualifying into its first World Cup. I'm Colombian, but everyone would love to see an Argentina, Brazil, or Italy playing here. I think to what you just said, the convenience, the easy mobility, how secure it is, how fun it is. Again, I don't think those soccer players want to have fun, but I think from a logistical standpoint, Bryant is the best location for anyone that's playing at Gillette, just because it's close by, easy, secure, safe, etc.
Yeah, I would say a half-hour ride at max to get to your stadium, in the convenience of being at home, I think is a game changer for any team thinking about it. That's the game changer. You're right there.
They can even warm up at Bryant and move up and warm up a little more for the game.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Definitely a home field advantage.
Yeah.
Liz, let's talk about the summer of soccer. We're looking at a packed calendar, right, of culture, arts here in Rhode Island. What's the significance and what are some of the highlights that we have going on?
So 2 things are happening. So we're looking at hosting a Providence World Cup festival.
Okay.
That would have to be FIFA approved. And so we're working very much on that. But then there's also looking to be a series of events across the state. And they kind of fall in 3 buckets. The first one being youth events. So you're looking at big soccer tournaments, thousands and thousands of people. But also we're hoping to do some fun things at the Providence Children's Museum or at the zoo. The second bucket is municipalities. Pawtucket, Central Falls, East Providence, Coventry. They're all looking to have some watch parties and festivals and be able to really celebrate the sport as well as the culture. Because not many people realize this, but we have one of the highest viewership rates of soccer in the entire country. And then the third bucket, which is crazy. And then the third bucket is really a variety of other cultural and arts events, music, food, film, other things focused on, not just on soccer, but also of the culture of the countries that will be spending a lot of time here. So we're really excited to have a wide variety of events so that people have things to do while they're here. And like the treasurer said, we want them to come back. You should also know, too, that these are people who aren't just coming for a weekend to see a game, because most games are on Mondays or Tuesdays or Thursdays. They're coming for 2 weeks, a month, a long time.
When I was a sportscaster, covering those watch parties were some of the funnest things I ever did. There was a place in Thayer Street. There was a Brass Monkey. They always had fantastic watch parties with the local groups, the national groups, and then we had our own group locally here in Rhode Island. And the energy in the room was palpable. And it was just a fantastic environment. And to look at the actual ratings that show that we're one of the highest in the entire country is nuts. And that's another reason why it's so fantastic that we're a part of this.
Yeah, and I think back to Liz's point about Rhode Island FC, you go there to one of the games, it's usually packed and it's exciting, and the fans are really getting into the team. And look, soccer's a big deal here in Rhode Island.
It is.
No doubt.
I would concur with that 110%. I went to about 5 games at our IFC this season, and I was so impressed with A, what they put on, but B, what the fan environment in what they want soccer here in Rhode Island, which I wasn't sure if they were ready for another team outside of Gillette. And they were, and they showed, and they came out. I went to the final game. It was a sellout, right? And it was a great environment for soccer, and people want soccer here in Rhode Island. And soccer is growing across the globe, across the country, and I think Rhode Island's leading the charge in New England.
And that's why Liz's strategy about really getting into the youth leagues during this experience, because every time there's a World Cup, there's a little bump in engagement, excitement, etc. And so that strategy is going to be very good for the long term.
Oh yeah. I coach 2 soccer teams, and guess what? Every time they all have the jerseys on, and everybody has a Messi jersey. It's crazy. It's crazy. Treasurer, what role do you see the communities and local governments playing in all of this?
Yeah, I think from purely logistical and safety, that's paramount to this whole experience, but also helping their local businesses prepare for what's going to come, and also adding a little dynamic to the experience, meaning they want to hold a fan fest, a watch party, or a food festival. I think that's where they can come in key, because all these folks are going to look for an experience, whether it's watching a game or if their team's not playing, going out and exploring the state. So we need them to be very engaged on that element. We know that CF being a high Colombian population, Pawtucket with the Cape Verdeans, there's going to be a lot of that activity, but we want to see more of that around the state.
Yeah, and Liz, you already touched on it with that youth engagement, but the importance of not only for this event, but to build for future, right? I think everything with this isn't just for this one event, but for long-term success, right? How important is it for the youth in local communities to get involved for that long-term success of soccer? Really, as we see, it's taking over Rhode Island right now, but to keep it continued throughout the World Cup.
No, we know that having the World Cup come will create an enormous amount of new soccer fans. And that's great for Rhode Island FC. That's great for Rhode Island. We really want to make sure that they understand that soccer is a sport, but there's also the cultural aspect of getting to know your neighbors around the world as well. So we really want to emphasize the youth space so that you have that legacy piece of it, so that people do come back. But one other thing I want to point out too is the treasurer's been leading a large team of people to not just talk about the fun stuff, but the important stuff, the infrastructure, security, transportation, all of those things. And so there's a large group of people working on it to make sure that this is a safe environment, that we can all still get back and forth to work every day, and the fun stuff. And it's been really fun to see it all come together in a way that's just never been done before in Rhode Island.
Yeah, Treasurer, I know you touched on it at the beginning, but you guys are ahead of the game on this, really trying to capitalize, right, on everything. Can you talk about what your group, Ocean State 2026, is really doing in the monumental task that you guys have put into work months and months ago to get this where you guys are at now? Because I'm watching and reading everything, and you guys are everywhere right now, flooding the market with your message of getting soccer and people here to Rhode Island.
Well, first, it was to truly understand what this would mean to Rhode Island and the magnitude of it. And so understanding that, working with many of our partners in the region, including folks from FIFA with the announcement of Bryant, I think our biggest thing is understanding that we need to focus on the buckets that are in front of us, right? Logistics, security, fun, mobility, etc. All these little things will create a good experience. The other thing I failed to say is, a lot of people still think the World Cup is like a few years away. It's not. It's next summer. So we know that on December 5th, we're going to find out what teams are going to come to Gillette. I think that's where we're going to see an inflection point on activity, excitement, a new dynamic, and we're preparing just for that. Because if a Portugal comes, or Brazil, Argentina, Italy, Like that's a different dynamic and an experience for people that are kind of come into this region.
And Liz, what I was wondering is, have you guys noticed a bump in excitement since the Bryant announcement was made, and that people are really like, wow, right now, and that you guys are out there kind of speaking the word of what you guys are doing right now?
So we recently had a press conference. There was 150 people there for a press conference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just absolutely incredible to see. And it was a wide variety of people who are just soccer fans, people who just want to support it, people who just love sports. And the excitement is already growing. But, you know, as the treasurer said, December 5, that's a big date. And so after that, when you know that your team's coming and they're going to be in this area, things are going to get wild. We're talking about a lot of people. Nonetheless, the soccer loving fans that we have here already, it's going to be a great time.
Can you imagine Portugal at Bryant? Like the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo will probably be on the highway while we're commuting to work. Like that's that type of excitement that this will create.
Yeah. All right, Liz, another big question I think all Rhode Islanders have is, how can they get involved? How can the average Rhode Islander get involved?
Well, we'll absolutely be looking for volunteers, particularly the train station, at the airport. You know, we really want Rhode Islanders to be ambassadors, to make Rhode Island proud. So if you see somebody walking down the street and you're not quite sure where they're going, please see if you can try to help them out. But we're also looking for business sponsors. We need dollars to make these events happen. So if you're really interested, we'd love to talk to you. You can learn more about that at oceanstate26.com.
Awesome. Treasurer, a question for you, building off of what Liz just said, businesses. How can businesses take advantage of this? And then what's your message to them? Because Rhode Island is going to be flooded in the summer of 2026.
Get ready now. That's the biggest message. Get ready now. You know, there's going to be people that want to try every food possible. They want to have every type of experience. And so there's a real opportunity here to capitalize on that in a good way. And I think that being able to do that not only puts a good face for Rhode Island, but it creates this whole dynamic that we need to make happen during the World Cup.
All right, let's end this episode with your message to Rhode Islanders on why you are excited about this opportunity and what should we all be looking forward to next summer here in Rhode Island. Liz, we will start with you.
I'm most excited about inviting the world to come to Rhode Island, absorbing those cultures and introducing people to our beaches, our food, our wonderful lifestyle. That's what excites me the most. I just can't wait for that piece of it.
And Treasurer?
I think what Liz said, building up on that, is, you know, just not only being a fan of soccer myself, I know what the World Cup is going to mean to Rhode Island, but also like what we're doing at Ocean State 2026, it's going to add a whole layer of fun. And I'm excited about that. Very excited about that.
It'll be a fun summer ahead. Treasurer James Diossa and Liz Tanner, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And for more information, visit risummerofsoccer.com and follow RI Summer of Soccer on social media for updates, events, and ways to get involved. As we mentioned, I'm Joe Kayata, and this has been the Rhode Island Summer of Soccer podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode as we prepare you for a summer to remember.